serious? Or they like, back then Facebook was a thing and they would hack into the Facebooks and see all these messages from girls. I'm like, you need to leave. You need to leave. He's like, you can't. Basically, he told me to stop empowering people because I would give them the confidence and be like, "Oh, you deserve better than this." And he was like, "These are not." But he's like, "These are not though. These are not those type of relationships. I mean, this is just a girl coming in for the month. You making her feel like she's
she's entitled."
And so I had to realize
she wasn't with him shooting in the gym.
Did you then have to assess everyone you met? Like, I don't know how serious they are or what she know. Every friend you didn't know.
Yes, and I would try to talk to them about anything besides the relationship, and it was hard because as he started playing for longer, because usually the people that come in are younger and younger, and so I'm 28 years old, feeling like I'm 100 because these girls are so young and they're asking me for advice because we've been married so long, and I'm like, I can't even. I just say, hey, what I would do, but I don't want to mess up because I'm gonna be honest with you, Brian. Getting with a professional athlete or any man with some money, or any person with some money is a come up. So I don't want to mess up your hookup. I don't want to mess up your bags and your flights. And your,
she go in there thinking that she can.
Right. I realized what you were saying had a point to it. I understand. Like, you're young. These girls are 20, 25. Have fun. I don't really want you to get your heart broken. Just have fun. I want to empower you and encourage you, but I don't want to mess up. This is nice. What you doing? I mean, whatever y'all call this, is it nice? You could be with somebody working at, I don't want to say a particular place, but you could be with a $2 an hour guy. Yeah.
Right.
So I realize my mouth has a lot of power. And I can encourage people.
She really had to watch what she said.
I did.
And a lot of times I would come home. I'm not going to say no names again, but it'd be an athlete that I would live by. And they'd be like, Chris, man, take your family in, man. Get your family in. And then Maria would know. I would tell her, like, man, let's go in the house, man. He got the girl coming over. Because I would tell Maria.
We all kind of lived on the same cul-de-sac at one point. And so when the girlfriend or the wife that I knew was out of town, I'm trying to bring a girl by. Your wife taking groceries out the car. I don't want her to see this girl I'm about to pull up with. It was
putting you in a tough spot.
Oh, exactly.
All right, I got a bunch more questions for you guys. We got to take a quick break.
Okay.
We will be back right after this. And we are back with Maria and Josh Cribbs. She loves the way that sounds.
I love it. Maria and Josh.
So what do you think about your relationship has made it last or made it get through ups and downs of professional athletes and career successes and all that? What is the key?
I think on my end, treating Josh the way that I would want to be treated. Like I said, I always looked at it as if this were me, how would I want him to respond? I wouldn't want him to be over me nagging and jealous about every person want a picture or an autograph or anybody being inappropriate. I would want to be able to have my space with my friends and take my trips and things like that, because I kept reminding myself, we got married young. That was not normal to get married at 21, 20 years old.
No.
So
we were 19
and 20. So I always just looked at it from that standpoint. And then when he would start really feeling himself and really getting a big head, I would look at it. I would honestly look at it like he's young. We're young. And I'm just saying.
So you gave me grace.
I gave him a lot of grace. A lot of grace.
A lot of grace.
But it was the grace that I would have wanted. Like, I'm on my way to being a star now. You have to sit back.
Oh, you ain't.
It's her time.
I
think just being able to give each other space.
Hold on,
and
what does that
free,
mean?
No, just being
you
able
want me to give you grace. Don't be thinking you're going to have some late nights. Hold on, man. We have to talk about this.
And dealing with a professional athlete, there's moods involved.
Yes.
There's the highs and lows of
absolutely
winning, losing, fumbling, scoring, all of it.
Yes.
And you have to gauge how practice was, how the game went, how are you feeling physically. There's a lot, right?
I would have to say, he's trying to make
he didn't care about none of that.
I would have to say Josh always, because I knew some girls they would come out of the locker room after the game and just be like, attitude, like look like they want to try to punch the wall or something. Josh was never that guy. I think it was a part of him that felt like I did my job. Mm-hmm. So he didn't come home with that, I'm mad, I need to sit and we lost. The Browns, they were losing a lot. And it's not that he didn't care about it. He definitely cared and wanted the team to be successful, but he looked at it like, I gave 100%. I know I did my part. I have to let that go. And I would have to say I'm thankful that he wasn't that type of guy that had those attitudes after the game, because if that's the case,
Right. And I exactly what Maria said. I had to look myself in the mirror every game, before and after, to make sure I left it all out there on the field.
Right.
And when I felt like I didn't, do you remember what we did after a game? Where we went, I had to rededicate myself. Do you remember that?
Oh, gosh.
I had to rededicate myself to the craft of playing football, and even just because we were losing. But I was in the NFL. Well, how can I not be grateful? So one game we went to a Pop Warner game at St. Ignatius.
St. Ignatius. Okay, I do remember
We
that.
just went, and I stood
Over
outside.
it's in Ohio City.
Downtown, yep.
Yes.
Right there.
And I just, on a drive back, I just pulled over, seen a game. I was like, you know what? Come on, let's watch it. I was like, you mind? She was like, nah. So we just stood in the back.
Right.
And just watched little kids go
play.
out there and play, because I was out there before. I was doing that. So I had to rededicate myself to say, man, they would love to be in my position, win or lose.
Right.
To get that fire back in me, which I did.
And John, I think too, it would always suck because after all the games, you would do your thing, and you would always have like the head coaches from the other teams be like, "Man, we love to have you." And it's kind of like you feel like you were being pulled because it's like I'm stuck on this team, and I want to get this team to a champion, playoffs or something. But
well, we knew. I mean, I'm a New York Giants fan, and I was like, "Oh man, why we're wasting Josh Cribbs on that? He could be on the Giants. He would help us a lot. It would be good." But both of you, you're from Columbus. And you went to Kent State, so you're part of sort of Northeast Ohio community. After a while, you're like, this is my home, and these are my fans, and I know we're losing, but this is it. This is my house. I'm not leaving my family.
Absolutely. My whole adult life was in this area, Northeast Ohio, from college to when I turned 18, going to Kent State, and then from Kent State to Cleveland, 45 minutes away.
Right.
This was everything I knew. Even when I go back to DC now, I'm looking around like I'm in a foreign area, because a lot changes in the city in a decade and 2 decades. So this is the area.
Your kids are native to here.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It does get some time. Remember after you got done playing, I was like, okay, like
Why
we're
we
done.
staying
Why are we
here?
still
Yeah,
here?
why we staying in
And
Ohio?
then now I understand why, because we love Cleveland, we love the community, and we like the elements. We
My
like
daughter
the weather,
loves
but
Cleveland.
Brian, now
She
that
loves
it
the
gets,
seasonal changes.
Yeah, but now that it's getting colder, and the injuries from football and everything starting to like tighten up, it's like you could probably use some warmer weather on those joints. So
You're like, honey, you like Florida.
right?
What was the biggest challenges in your relationship related to football and career stuff, or was it other things, communication or anything else?
Let me tackle this, Maria.
Go ahead, and I'll jump in. Go ahead.
Remember, I went into a depression after playing.
Right.
Feeling like I didn't have a purpose. Feeling like, okay, what now? I put my whole life into football. So I just basically got off the scene. Even at home, I just stayed in my guest room and would just lights out, like, leave me alone, and I think that hampered our relationship, because I was home every day, and she was like, man, you still in the room with the lights off? She kind of had to breathe and speak life back into me.
Right.
Even though I didn't want to live or want to, experience the world outside of playing football. I would have dreams that I was still playing and wake up like, oh, I got to get to practice, realizing I was done.
For years,
was there discussions where after 7-8 years where you're like, what's going to be next for you? Was that something that you thought was going to be an issue for Josh, that he was going to have trouble letting it go, or you don't think about it? I
never thought he would have trouble. You just don't think, because you're so young and everything's happening so fast. You don't think about it. And then when he was done playing, and I think the problem is when these players, the organizations know when they're done with you. They don't necessarily,
right.
Yeah. And so it's like, man, I feel like I can still do it. Why am I not? No one's calling. I'm not getting no opportunities, And I think that's
they would rather get rid of you a year too early than a year too late.
Bring somebody in and get paid. You could probably bring 3 guys in and pay them what you're paying this guy.
Right.
So I think that's the part that's heartbreaking, because I'll just put the Browns out there. When you feel like you're a part of a family, and then once you're done, I don't hear from these people like that no more.
And it's business.
I can't go in there and work out no more. I don't have access to the same doctors
call
no
and ask
more.
for tickets, or you have to be like, hey,
we don't go. Do you? I don't know.
Yeah, it was hard for me to go for like years after.
Yeah,
like, I can go now.
And part of that, I would say for the first maybe like 2 or 3 years, part of it was on your end,
right? And
then now that he, I've never dealt with someone that dealt with depression or was depressed like that. And it's hard to see a grown man.
Yeah,
you just be like, come on, step out of it, come on, And I didn't understand it, and so finally I came in the room one day. I was like, look, and I know I had compassion, because I understand you've been playing this sport since you were what, 6, 7 years old.
7, yeah.
So imagine doing something since you were 6 or 7, and now I can't do it anymore.
Right, with 50, 60 years ahead of you that you made your living and you're playing a kid's game.
Yeah.
So you have that mindset, and then it's now what?
And
that's hard for the partner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I just had to really speak life into him and say, hey, it's not over for you. This is not, that was a part of your life. That's not the whole book. That was a chapter in your life.
As it relates to our relationship, I just respect Maria so much, even through all cause she is a really strong-willed, and that's code for stubborn, and I gotta have it my way type of woman.
Oh my goodness.
Like a lot of women are, like, it's just gonna be her way.
Right.
And I let a lot of stuff go that she really irks me. I mean, even to this day, I'm like, ugh.
What?
But I have so much respect for her.
Like what?
Because you know I'm right.
Oh, I'm going to say it.
Okay, go ahead. I want to know.
The respect is the fact that she took care of me. She also breathed life back into me. It's like, man, you a coach. You Josh Cribbs, man. You can go anywhere.
Right.
Said, you can be an agent. You can be a coach. You can be a
kind of got me back on my feet and loved me enough to do so.
Right.
But now it's like she getting too big for her britches. It's
What?
like,
Brian, excuse me.
like,
Put the tea down. Wait a minute.
It's
What?
like it's like her and the kids gang up on me, and I don't like it one bit.
This is her time.
It is her time, and that's why I have grace like she did for me.
Right.
But she just walk around.
Reciprocating grace is a wonderful thing in a couple.
It's like she really means it when she said, "This is my time."
And he's clearly proud of you having your time.
Oh,
and
yeah, I can tell by his tone.
And part of it is he's like, I saw the talent before everybody else.
But see, if you saw, this is my thing too.
He discovered
Since
you as
we're
the way he
here.
looks at
So,
it.
since we're
I
here,
do.
if you saw,
I saw you as the best
like
dressed.
like a parent.
if
like,
you
"Ooh, look at
saw
her
the
blossom."
talent before everyone else, why couldn't it have been some connections made to get my girl into some things when I was in the league?
Right,
Ooh.
right.
You know what I mean? I
Right.
think you're so
Well,
young.
you're
and
saying
so selfish.
you weren't interested
I just
then.
wasn't thinking about it. Like it wasn't. But you had the connections. You could have been like, "Hey, put my girl in a commercial. Let's see. You know, if he
Well,
might
like Baker
you know what I
Mayfield's
mean?
girl in
Thank-
the commercial now is his
thank
wife,
you.
right? She's in the commercials
Thank
now.
You,
It's different.
You
Wow.
could have been opening up the stadium on the
But
progressive
it's
commercial.
It's very different.
Right? That could have been me.
Look, it's very different. Social media, the
It is a different
It
world.
is.
technology
That's
has
true.
changed.
Like,
That's true.
Like we know Patrick Mahomes' wife now. We know
Without
Sean
Googling
McVay's
it.
wife.
That's
Like
true.
you know them because they have a public presence. Everybody's
That's
going to
true.
Google them, and then they also have a social media presence. It would have been different.
That's true.
10 years
She
later.
made me
That's
get
true.
on Twitter.
I did.
I didn't even.
Yeah.
I fought Twitter. I'm like, man, ain't nobody getting on
Can't
Twitter.
fight
It's,
Twitter.
it's MySpace
I'm
all
like, nah,
day.
it's this new thing. Yeah.
It's MySpace all day.
And I had like 140,000 followers on Twitter. Like
Right.
after joining late,
Right.
years after, she made me get on IG. I'm like, man, everybody on Twitter. Ain't nobody getting on. Ain't nobody. This Instagram ain't going
So
to
he's
catch.
right. It was a different time. It was a different time. You're
Right.
Yeah.
I just got on, what's the new one?
What's that?
I just got on
TikTok?
TikTok.
Oh yeah.
man.
Late.
gotta
Because
be
look,
dance
I'm
on
always
TikTok.
late. But I got on because I'm like, dang, why did I not take the first two hints?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
so how did the show happen? How did the TV show happen?
The TV show happened. Okay, when anybody's around us, they always say, "You guys need a show. You guys are funny." You know,
Right.
they always, and it's been like that for years. Multiple people have said it. And then this lady that Josh works with, she ended up, Lisa Hanner. She ended up. You know, she said it one
Bitching.
time, like, you guys really need, off of the podcast we were doing, you guys really need your own show. And I'm like, all right, people have said this for years. Okay, whatever. And she's like, do you mind if I go out and like, try to see if I pitch it and try to see if any local station to pick up on it? Yeah, sure, go ahead, whatever. You know, weren't thinking anything of it.
Right.
And then I think she went to a couple
She
channels.
went to a couple, all in Cleveland.
Yeah,
Yeah.
19
was the
picked
first
up on it.
like,
They
you
were
know
willing
what?
to,
We're going to take a risk.
Yeah.
We want you guys.
yeah, and they were willing to take a risk, and it worked.
And you had no on-camera experience before?
I dabbled and did things here and there. Like I did some stuff, you know, when he would have little things.
correspondence.
Yeah, correspondence, but nothing
Yeah.
like my own thing. No.
Were you nervous? You're like, or you're like, it's
wasn't,
my
because,
time.
Like, I felt like it was my time. Like when I told you I came back
She's
to
nervous.
Brian, I literally wrote down a list when I was like, I forget what age it was.
She
And I wrote down
nervous.
all the things that I wanted to do as a little girl before anyone could tell me, no,
Yeah.
you know, no, you got kids and, you know, do this, do that. This is more, you know, sustainable. I wrote down everything that I wanted to be when I was a little girl, and it's all happening now.
Oh, I need a
just
small
really came back
violin.
to myself.
Now,
you know what?
now credit to your producers in that they saw it and then allowed it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So they saw what sort of we can see watching it. They, like a lot of times they'll be like, oh, you guys are a great couple. And then they'll bring you in and they'll take away everything that makes you who you are, the banter and the fun and the feisty and the questions that you guys
Right.
go back and forth on each other. They allow that to happen.
That's one thing I like about 19, because Josh and I, a lot of the content on the show is what we come up with.
Right.
So when we put the stories on the show and we do the A, the B, and mostly the D block. The C block is usually like a segment or something like that a producer,
package.
a package that they do. Yeah.
Yeah.
And they encourage it. it's like if you, which I would say when we first went into this, I definitely thought it was going to be someone
scripted,
not
telling us everything what to do.
Not scripted, just how they do for like, maybe a newscast.
Right.
They provide